So friends, let us discuss today the second part of statistical inference, that is about the estimation. So in last class we had studied about the hypothesis testing, different steps of hypothesis testing. For getting a statistical inference, it deals with actually two portions. The first one is hypothesis testing and the second one is estimation. So what is estimation? It is used the statistics obtained from the sample as an estimate of unknown parameter of the population. So whatever parameters that is unknown of a population, we are trying to estimate the parameters of population using the sample information. So here you can see in this picture that is statistical inference is having two major areas. The first one is parameter estimation and second one is the hypothesis testing. About hypothesis testing we have already seen. Now we will be seeing about the parameter estimation. So the next, what is estimation? So whenever we are having a sample information, we will be applying certain methodology, and with that methodology we will be able to calculate the population characteristics, that is the population parameters. Now what are those methods? So those methods are known as statistical estimation, and this statistical estimation is of two types. The first one is point estimation and second one is the interval estimation. So this is the whole process of estimation. So with the help of sample information we are getting the population characteristics, and that population characteristics how we are getting, we are applying certain methodology, and those methodologies are known as statistical estimation, which is of two types, the point estimation and the interval estimation. Now we will be seeing the point and interval estimation one by one. So first we will be seeing the point estimates. What are the point estimates? So point estimates are actually single number, and it is used as estimate of population parameter. When a single number is used as an estimate of population parameter, it is called as point estimates. So what we are doing, you just see here we are having a population, and a population which is having parameters x and theta. So here with this population, from this population we are selecting random sample of n observation. We are selecting random sample of n observations, and observations are x1, x2, x3, etc. So we selected n observation randomly, and on this information on sample with preconceived methods, that is estimation methods that we have already seen. The preconceived method, we will be arriving at a theta cap. You just see, I will be showing you. This is the theta cap. This is the theta cap. Theta cap, that is estimate of population parameter. Estimate of population parameter that is obtained from sample, and how? With the help of certain preconceived methods, that is statistical estimation. And now this theta cap, we will be accepting it as a almost equal measure as of the theta. That means with the help of sample information we are estimating certain population parameter, and that estimate will be we will be considering it as close as of the actual population parameter estimate, actual population parameter. This actual parameter should be equal to the estimate, or it should be closer to the estimate. So estimated theta is a single point on a real number scale. So this estimated theta, this theta is a single point. That is why it is called as point estimate. So you have to remember that in point estimates only single point will be explaining about the population parameter. So whatever estimates we are getting from the sample information, that we will be denoting it as a theta cap or theta hat, and it should be closer to the actual population parameter, which is theta. So theta cap should be closer to the measures of theta. Now the interval estimates. So we know what is point estimate. Point estimate is a single value, whereas interval estimate, it is a statement of two values. So here you can note the difference between the point estimate and the interval estimate. So what is interval estimate? It is a statement of two values between which the estimated that the parameter lies. So these are the two value. In between these two value, estimated parameter will be lying. So we are not finding the exact value or single numerical value, but we are finding out the range or 2 points. Between 2 points, we are guessing that the parameter should be or it may be lying between these 2 points. These 2 points. That means this interval. So that is why it is called as interval estimate. So interval estimate is specified by confidence interval. So what is confidence interval? It is the difference of upper value and lower value. So this interval estimate, I have told you earlier that it is a statement of two values between which it is supposed that estimate is lying. So the difference between this upper value and lower value is called as confidence interval. So it is, this interval estimate is a interval of plausible values, hence named interval mapping. So that is why it is called as interval mapping or interval estimate. So just with this example, it will be very easy to understand. If we estimate the average marks obtained by statistics student is 40. Suppose we have estimated that average marks obtained by a student of statistics is 40. Then this is point estimate. But if we say that the average marks is between 35 to 43, if it is between 35 to 43, then it is called as interval estimate. Suppose exactly we are not able to get the exact average value of the marks obtained by our average marks obtained by the student. So what we are guessing that it should be lying between this value and this value. So the limit or interval that we have obtained is called as interval estimate. So why this interval estimate is very important in our biological experiment? Because in a scientific investigation, many a times it is not necessary to know the exact value. So many a times you are not interested in knowing exact value. But what you want, it is desirable to have some confidence that value lies between certain range. So you are not interested in getting exact value, but you are interested in knowing that this value may be lying between this range. So in such case, this interval estimate is very important. So we'll be seeing different methodology or different types of estimate, and at that time you will be appreciating that which one is interval estimate and which one is the point estimate. Okay. Now, what are the properties of a good estimator? So first of all, you have to understand the difference or a very thin line. There is a very thin line between the estimate and estimator. It is actually not a thin line, but many times we may be confused. But this estimate and estimator are entirely different things. So that you have to note. So the numerical value of the sample mean is said to be an estimate. So whatever numerical value you are getting is called as estimate of the population mean figure. On the other hand, the statistical measure used, that is method of estimation. So method of estimation is called as estimator. So this is the difference. The value that we are obtaining is estimate, whereas the process by which we are estimating or the method is called as estimator. So population mean, suppose the marks of students of biostatistics in this class. Suppose it is 40. So this 40 is estimate, whereas the process by which we obtained this mean, the formula or the statistics that we applied, is called as estimate. Estimator. So this is the difference between estimate and estimator. So a good estimator, as common sense dictates, is close to the parameter being estimated. So what will be the good estimator? So good estimator, it will estimate the value as close as of the population parameter. So suppose population mean is 40 and you have applied an estimator which is giving the sample mean as 39.9. So this we can say that is a very good estimator, because the value is as close to the population mean. So this is the a good estimator. It should get the values as closer to the population parameter. Now we will be seeing the quality of good estimators. So what are the quality of good estimator? It should be evaluated in certain terms. So these are the 4 terms that is used for estimation of for estimation of quality of good estimator. The first one is unbiasedness. Unbiasedness. An estimator is said to be unbiased when it is said to be unbiased if its expected value is identical with the population parameter. So what is population parameter, we are getting the value closer to the population parameter, or we are getting the sample value closer to the population parameter. This is called as, if such is the condition, this value is estimator is called as unbiased estimator. That means sample mean should be as closer as of the population mean. So such estimator will be called as unbiased estimator. So this was about the unbiasedness. Now the second one is the consistency. So if an estimator approaches the parameter, that is theta cap or theta hat is approaching the theta, and when it is approaching theta, as we are increasing the sample size, as we are increasing the n, that is, if we are increasing the sample size, theta cap or theta hat is getting closer to the theta. Theta hat is getting closer to theta. So estimator is said to be consistent estimator. Such estimator is said to be a consistent estimator of theta. Or more precisely, you can say the estimator theta cap or theta hat is consistent estimator of theta if n approaches infinity. So if n is infinity, or your sample size is very large, infinitely large, then theta cap or theta hat is closer to the population parameter, that is theta. So such estimator is called as consistent estimator. Then third one is the efficiency. So efficiency of estimator. So efficiency refers to the sampling variability of an estimator. If two competing estimators, suppose you are having you got two estimators, same thing, same parameter is being estimated by two methods or two estimators, which are equally unbiased. Then what you have to see? You have to see the variance. The one which is having smaller variance is said to be relatively more efficient. So the estimator which is having lesser variance, smaller variance is called as more efficient estimator. Now the fourth one and the last one is the sufficiency. So an estimator is sufficient, whether your estimator is sufficient or not, whether it is getting all the information or most of the information. If it is getting most of the information, then it is sufficient. An estimator is sufficient if it convey as much information as possible. If it is conveying as much information as possible, then it is called as sufficient estimator. So, an estimator is sufficient if it conveys as much information as is possible about the parameter which is contained in the sample. So, whatever information it is giving, if it is giving as much information as it is contained in the parameter, then this estimator is said to be the sufficient estimator. So, these are the 4 property of estimator, which is very important. You will be seeing questions about this property of good estimator in your annual board examination, even in your internal examination, and this property, based on this property, you will be getting multiple choice question in various competitive examinations also. So, that is why I have taken a separate lecture on this estimator or estimation. So, hopefully it is clear to you. Thank you. In next class, we will be seeing about the type of errors we are committing in estimating the population parameters. Thank you.